Welcome to our School Sport Victoria vlog series. School Sport Victoria, or SSV, is the peak body for school sport in Victoria. SSV is a subcommittee of the Department of Education and Training. School Sport Victoria is a merge of Victorian Primary School Sports Association, the Victorian Secondary School Sports Association that occurred in 2009 and was established on the 1st of the 1st, 2010. The two member associations have steered a school sport program for over 2,300 Victorian schools. These two associations existed for over 100 years, providing ongoing inter-school sport programs for Victorian students. My name's Andy Hare. I've been associated with School Sport Victoria since 1996 and I'm currently a regional coordinator. Today, I'm so excited. I'm joined by Christina Polatajko to discuss her view on physical education and health. And I got excited because I almost pronounced your last name right.
No, I was waiting for it. No, you said you did it right, so well done. Yay.
There we go. Yes. I've got to get my School Sport Victoria first place medallion out.
Yes. Yes.
Christina, it's such a pleasure to have you. Now, I call you the flipped queen of Australia. I think your work in physical education is first class, and really, like, I know we've discussed this behind the phys ed storerooms and stuff like that across the country, but the leaps and bounds you've made in your career in the last 18 months has been astronomical. And with that combination of School Sport Victoria representation as a teacher, and then your work as physical education, and now into a brand new school to develop a whole new community-based approach to physical education, you must be sitting in a lolly shop every day. Oops, can't say lollies with PE, but you are literally doing that. So, Christina, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about where you teach, and how long you've been teaching, and sort of what your roles were with School Sport Victoria currently and past?
Yeah, Norris, thanks, and thanks for inviting me in to this chat group. And it's an honour to be here to share my knowledge and passion with everyone else who will be listening to this podcast. So I'm at Newbury Primary School, which is located in Craigieburn, so that's the Green Gully district. And this is my first year at this school. So it's a brand new school where we opened up our doors a couple months ago. And previous to that, I was at a school at Aiken Creek for a year. And before that, I was at Taylors Hill Primary School for 6 years. And I was really lucky enough because prior going to uni, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. After year 12, I didn't have the marks. I didn't have the knowledge to get in straight into uni. So I started off at a 2-year TAFE course and sports development, and that led me away to a university degree of Peter 10 Bachelor of Education, majoring in PE and ICT. And I was lucky enough to be given a job at Taylors Hill as a graduate at a brand new school. So I walked in there first day with no resources, little equipment, and I was given the job to coordinate the whole school program, which is fantastic because without their help and their support from Taylors Hill, I wouldn't be here right now. So I was at SSV for 6 years with Taylors Hill, and I was given the district coordinator for the Caroline Springs area. And I was there for 2 years leading the pack of multiple schools in that area. And it was an absolute honour because you can see what goes behind the scenes. And a lot of teachers may seem, they rock up Friday mornings, afternoons, and they go and do their jobs. They look after the kids. But then behind the scenes, it's all the organisations that needs to be done to make sure the day, the carnivals, the year is a successful one. And with our district, we only had one term carnivals per term. So we had like a lightning premiership day once a term with all the schools. And so we would run the netball, the football, the soccer, the t-ball all in one day instead of having every single week. That's how our region works. So I guess the principals, the guys in charge, they agreed to just the one term, one district day per term. And was that enough? I still say no. But it was better than nothing. So leading the troop was a great learning experience for me. And I think one thing I'm really proud of when coordinating the district is getting the girls AFL up and running. We only had 2 schools participating. At that time was Parkle Green and Christ the Priest. They would enter a girls team. But I still stay in contact with some of the teachers, and every school has now an AFL girls team. And I know that would have been with the help with the AFLW, which has been established this year. But that's something that you can just see the growing of development of more students are now, therefore, participating. And there's more females, there's males are now just having a go because there's an opportunity for them to try out the sport that they love to try out, because years ago there was no opportunities for girls footy, and now there is.
Yeah,
you know.
Tapping on that, there's 2 things I wanted to draw out of that, which were amazing. Like, you know, the story of not sure what to do, TAFE, and then into Taylor's Hill, brand new teacher, brand new school, brand new district. What is this School Sport Victoria thing all about? Oh my God, swim. So the 2 things I'll mention one first is that obviously I wanted to mention the girls' footy because I'll forget really quick. I just think exactly what you said. The rise of the AFL Women's League is unbelievable. This year, Greater Western Region, up in Horsham, state team trials, we had 3 girls trial for the boys' football team. I believe, I haven't seen them, but I believe that 1 or 2 have actually gone through to the next round. So that a year ago didn't exist. Now the girls are going, you know what, I'm better than those boys. I'm going to try out for that team as well, which is, it's unreal. So you're at the forefront of that. The second one is, I want you to elaborate on this. So School Sport Victoria is a really cool organisation to learn your craft of administration and planning, because without it, we get exposed. So as a graduate teacher, what skills did being involved with School Sport Victoria give you straight away that you still bring into your teaching today?
So it's more the organisation, because if you're not organised, you haven't got your team sheet, you haven't got your team, you haven't got your training, you haven't got your notes for your coaches who are your teachers, the 5, 6 teachers, then you can't run a successful carnival. And it's about that networking. It's about that communicating with teachers off-site. It's about coordinating with your leadership group, even the buses. And there's the little things like that that we forget to do, and we forget, oh, well, this is what we need to do to make sure that our carnival is the best one, that our students come home on a Friday afternoon, they talk to their parents. So they don't just say, yeah, school was all right. No, school was brilliant. I played footy. I kicked 2 goals. Our team just won. And they are then elaborating on the success that they were able to achieve that day. Because a lot of kids these days, they just come home, yeah, it was all right. But this is what school sports does for our students. It's not just getting them out of the classroom. It is creating moments. And that's the power of school sports. And that's so important that I honestly believe where schools pull their students out of school sports, I can't think of a reason why. I don't understand why. And that's why if you're one of those schools, fight for it, because there's so many reasons on why the importance of getting kids involved with physical activity itself, but also the school sports builds relationships. And they meet people, they meet a new sport, they fall in love with that sport, they go and talk to the parents, mum and dad, can I join Auskick? Mum and dad, can I go to netball? And that's where their journey begins. And that's why the Aussie girls footy has taken off, because that's their first step going into the juniors, into seniors, reserves, and hopefully in the 10 years' time, they make their dream come true of becoming an AFLW player.
Yeah, unreal. I love how, I just have to start with the big W there. Wow, because you talked about the asset of what school sport has given you as a graduate teacher and what it still applies to now. And you talked about the organisation really quickly at the start.
Yeah.
Notes, buses, transport, communication, bang, 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 bang. But you got excited when you said kids go home and have a dinner time conversation across the table. That is what it's all about. We do hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work for one carnival because we want to be passionate about what we do, but we do it because it sparks a dinner time conversation. That is the most powerful movement that you can have. So yeah, I was so glad you touched on that.
Absolutely.
Christina, so physical education, physical literacy, obviously going hand in hand these days. How do you define this to your school community? Like, I'm talking probably physical literacy is a term coined a lot with the world, but our school community doesn't connect with it. In fact, they'd probably think it's the words you use in PE. So yourself as an educator and as a leader in physical education, using that terminology and getting the community to understand the one thing that you're helping define, so they actually buy in.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do hear the word physical literacy, and you think, oh, that's a big terminology. What is that? But it's a really simple concept, because for me, it's about students being exposed to physical activity. The more they're exposed, the more competent they are, and the more confident they are in having to go and mastering those little skills, then they can go and take those skills outside in the real world. So therefore, with school sport, that's one way of exposing students to physical literacy, because then at school, your programs go up and up and up because they're training, they're working hard, they're setting their own little goals. So helping that is a real important thing. And as a brand new school, we're not part of SSV this year. We've been in contact with the generals in 2018. We're ready to go with the numbers that are growing in our school rapidly. But so what I've done as a school so far is making sure that the physical activity is not just done at school, but it's done at home. So we celebrate what's called Newbury moments. And so the students, the families are able to share what they were able to achieve on a Saturday afternoon at karate, on a Sunday morning at swimming. So they come, they share. We celebrate those moments by displaying, congratulations to so-and-so for achieving a black belt in karate. So these kids can acknowledge the other students on what they do outside school. And again, you hope they motivate themselves, they motivate other kids, families. We celebrate success through our school website, our Facebook page, school page. And it's just sort of tapping them on the shoulder saying, hey, why don't you have a go at this? This will benefit not only with their skills, this will benefit them in their learning. Without physical activity, their learning will drop. I mean, imagine being stuck indoors all day. There's no snack, there's no recess, there's no lunch. Imagine the brain. It would be just crumbling. And so this is why you've got to communicate with your staff. How can you incorporate that activity-based side into numeracy, into English? What can you do outside with the kids? It's not necessarily taking them outside, but get them moving around the classroom, because that will make them more confident and in being active, being moving, and most importantly, they will feel good about themselves. The list goes on with Fitness Fridays. We've got Walk to School days. So there's the little things which then make the big things much more appreciated at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I really love that Newbury moments, because I'm just thinking, for me as a child, that, if I'm sitting on the floor in the gymnasium and you're being celebrated for getting a black belt in karate, but then I know that in physical education classes, we've got the same skill set. Yet I play soccer and you do karate. All of a sudden, that's where physical literacy takes over, doesn't it? Because the kids are connecting that if I have the same skill set as you and you're doing karate, then I should be able to take my skill set into karate and have some level of confidence. Obviously, training, understanding, the whole game sense knowledge of karate itself takes over as well. But I've got a base level where I can start as a success. So well done. That's really, really cool. Connect community.
I just wanted to butt in because there was a student and we were talking about, what you do on the weekend successes. And she said, I played hockey. I go, what do you mean you play hockey? She goes, I play hockey down the local at the Craigieburn. Fantastic. And that week we had hockey. And so I got that student, and she was able to teach that class on how to hold a stick and the purpose of hockey games. So again, it's then taking those students and they're driving that lesson with the skills of their knowledge, and they're teaching me. They're teaching those kids, and those kids are looking up to that same age student of theirs, and they're gaining that knowledge for them. So again, it's that exposure and getting to know your students so they can then contribute not only to your class, but also to the local community. So, hey, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mel Hamada mentioned that exact same thing on Twitter today. And for those that don't know Mel, she's a leading, she's an Australian educator, but living in Beijing at the moment and has spent so much time overseas. But the terminology she used was championing the student. You're doing exactly that. You've taken a skill set that you know is going to apply back. Championing that student for them to actually take example and be the leader. And that's where, you know, your role as a teacher, it starts to fall apart because we're not teaching, we're facilitating. We are taking what we know is the necessary ingredients right then and there, and we're planting the seeds. So unreal. Christina, I've asked this of the last two guests on today, and unfortunately you've been sent to the principal's office. Again,
fair enough.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you've gone in, they've said, Christina, please take a seat. So you've taken a seat. And they've said, you're allowed to ask me one question or tell me one thing, okay? What is that one question you're going to ask the principal, or a request that you're going to have of the principal that's going to benefit school sport or physical education?
Well, if I had to walk into the principal's office, close the door, when you close the door, you know there's something going on. No, but it's pretty much the way I'd sit down is how are we managing the obesity within our, whether it be school, local community, the state, nationwide. How can we at Newbury or another school can manage the obesity level that's really high in Australia, probably the highest ones around the world? How can we minimise that at Newbury Primary School? What are you doing? What are we doing as a school community to promote physical activity every single day? Not once a week in PE, but every single day. How can we get our classroom teachers, how can we get our leadership group on board to make sure that our kids are being exposed to activities every single day? And I think that's, I'll probably get a bit of a mouthful, but that would be that sentence starter, is really putting the question back on them, the thoughts back on them, and then hopefully leading to a positive discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's spot on. It's one that is, and it's probably a pretty good question, because you're not going in there and saying, can I have $1,000 for a new set of basketballs?
No.
You're going in there with a learning intent, a big idea question that's going to allow you to drive a curriculum program for 5 or 6 years. So it's a really cool one. And School Sport Victoria plays a heavy part in that too, because obviously, you know, sport driven through the School Sport Victoria program is a connector, and it allows our kids to have their expression session when they go out and about. How cool would it be to drive school sport down and go grade 3, 4 school sport, prep 1, 2 school sport, and actually go to with your entire school population goes and plays another school? That would be an absolute dream. Fantastic. All right, my next prickly pear for you. So you're catching the bus and you're going into the city, and you sit next to a lady who knows on your jacket you've got the word phys ed, and she starts to rab it on. And actually, I'll swap it to a guy, because I don't want to be getting biased here. But the guy's starting to rab it on about how PE is no good, sport is no good for kids. That for kids to succeed in life, they've got to just be purely academic and not be distracted by the overall goal of being as smart as they possibly can. What is the one message you're going to sell to that person, to that man, to when he hops off the bus, he goes and enrolls his child into some sort of sport program?
Well, firstly, I'd say, thanks for your opinion. But What I want to
can go and sit in a different seat.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, mate. No. Honestly, it's more so getting your message across to the other populations that doesn't know what goes on inside closed doors of school sports, of the quality PE program, because my philosophy as a teacher is to ensure all students have equal opportunity to succeed both on and off the court. And we need to acknowledge and accept students are different, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way we've been designed as human. So we as teachers have the opportunity to create sensational programs, but also then lead them into the direction of school sports. Not all students love to read. Not all students love to count, which is fine. But we need to find a happy medium for the kids. And this is something that could really save them. Sport can save lives. And I might be sounding really dramatic there, but it's an honest fact, because kids might go off the rail, but if someone finds something they're passionate about in basketball, then hey, why don't you join the basketball team? And we've just played basketball against the school on Friday, and it just gives them that motivation to work their butts off during the week. They know what needs to be done, because obviously the teachers, they can link the whole sports and education in together by getting the things done. You know, you're focused, ready to go. You've got things done, and then on a Friday afternoon, you're ready to play basketball, because you know that you were able to set your own goals. So you set your own learning goals, whether it be in your reading classes, you read your book, you do your writings, you do your numeracy, and then on a Friday afternoon, you know that it's sports day. You know that it's time for you to shine and to make a difference and to represent the school and also represent of who you are. And that's the key. Everybody is different, and we need to acknowledge that. We cannot just say, go and put your head down into the book, because you know what? I wasn't like that at all. And I need to find my happy medium, and I was able to do that through sport, and therefore I was able to enjoy my studies, my schooling, much more, knowing that I've got something to look forward to.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think I'm about to go and sign up to a sport. Mate, you've convinced me there. Love it. All right, so last one before I'll let you go, because I know you're a very, very busy person. So this one you don't have on your pre-scripted.
All right.
My cool one, because like I said, the last couple of guests have had totally different answers.
Yep.
But I'm hiring a billboard, believe it or not. It is going from Broady to Craigieburn, so you're going to see it every single day.
Yes.
It's hiring it on School Sport Victoria's budget, so I don't have to pay for it.
Yep.
But it is your billboard, so it's going to have your picture up there. It's going to have your Miss Physical Education Facebook page up there. It is also going to have 3 words that promote School Sport Victoria, or school sport in general.
Mm-hmm.
What 3 words might you put up there?
Make a difference.
Oh my God, you are! I've got to give you a prize. Hang on, I've got to find a prize for you.
What I get?
Let me see. You're going to get, I had it around here before. Aha.
Oh.
You are going to.
Don't drop it.
I won't drop it. Everyone's sitting in there in suspense. You're going to get a gold medal from School Sport Victoria, believe it or not. How good's that for promotion?
Oh, that's awesome. Look at that. That's a ripper. And that's another thing, though. Like, that's something students will work hard towards by achieving those little motivations, by those the trophies, the individual awards. I know it's not about the individual sometimes, but it's a team sports. But something like that, they're going to have for a long, long time.
Motivated. So making a difference, and that is unreal. That's why I awarded you first prize, because you were the fastest. That was right off the top of your head.
Yes.
Obviously, that is something that you are
every day. I live by that every single day, because you will walk into your classroom, you'll walk into your training group, and you don't know what's going to happen, but you know that you will make a difference to 1 or 2 or 30 students, because they will learn something new and they'll take it back to their classroom, back to their sporting groups. And it's all because of the effort that you put into those kids, and because you care about them, because you're wanting to make a difference.
Yeah, fantastic. It's such a pleasure to always talk to you, and I know that we've been on this journey for the last few years, and I know you and I have spoken personally about when we first met, and where you were as a teacher and where you are now, and it is really incredible. And I know School Sport Victoria are lucky to have had you as part of their journey for a short period of time, and obviously for a long more lot of time coming up. And I have no doubt that you'll make that significant difference with re-entry in 2018. So I thank you very much on behalf of School Sport Victoria, and I just love having you advocate for what you do. And the best Facebook message I had the other day that I read on your site was from Chloe Dew, who is also going to be on this show. And she gave so much feedback to you, saying she looks forward to your posts every time you put them up because it makes a difference. And all the photos that she put up, which was based on your curriculum, I mean, how much more powerful advocacy can you do with that? She's 200 kilometres, 150, 200 kilometres away from you, but is engaged in what you're doing, and you're making a difference in a different town in the country in sport and education. So thank you so much for doing that. And I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks at the Vic ACHPA conference.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Annie. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all the work that School Sports Victoria do for our kids.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Bye.